Breaking news coming out of Sokoto State is that there has been an attack close to the Sokoto State prison housing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu yesterday night. This happened at one local government area very close to the prison, just about 10 to 20 or at least 30 minutes drive away from the prison. This attack happened and the terrorists were not apprehended, they were not confronted, they just separated and they left. Now listen to the news headline. It says, yesterday night, armed bandits raided Kwaragba community in Wano, local government area, Sokoto State. They killed and injured several residents and also abducted 8 women during the attack. Security forces and local vigilantes pursued the armed group but were unable to recover the abducted women. They keep on coming closer to the prison every time. Every time an attack happens in Sokoto, it's always pushing closer to the prison. The last one was about 40 minutes away from the prison. Now it's 30 minutes away from the prison. And very soon, that testing the microphone they are doing, they will finally do it. What is in their mind, they will finally do it. That is why I always talk about it. I always raise alarm every day. The last time I raised alarm, I heard that soldiers went, Tabon Beni. Yes, soldiers went there and did some kind, damage control, just to make us calm down that Nnamdi Kanu is safe or whatever. This time around, this one is at Wano and it is 30 minutes, just a stroll away from the prison. And they were not even abducted, they were not even caught. Nothing. They went away with 8 women. 8 women were abducted from there. Clean. And this is just close to Sokoto State Prison where Nnamdi Kanu is. You can imagine the gunshots, you can imagine the bombs they were operating with being heard inside the prison. And Nnamdi Kanu now cannot sleep well. He is not sleeping with his eyes closed. He cannot have peace of mind with the caliber of people already who are in that prison, the terrorists and the criminals who are already caught, who have been sentenced to the prison, who are there serving time. Those ones aside. Now, we're talking about a threat coming from outside the prison. Nnamdi Kanu cannot sleep well with all these things because who knows? You know how these people work, these terrorists work. When they get to the gate of the prison, those prison officers can't do anything. They will just open the doors for them because they are working together. And that is why I keep calling this alarm every day, telling everybody, rise up, listen carefully, what is going on. The authorities and those responsible for these things happening in Sokoto State, they should be careful and make sure that Nnamdi Kanu is safe at all times. Nothing should happen to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu because this attacks is becoming one too many. It's becoming one too many. If you knew Sokoto State is not enough to house him, why did you send him there in the first place? I thought you said you want a place where he will be safe. How safe is Sokoto State? And everybody knew. How safe is Sokoto State? The Fulani Caliphate of West Africa. How is it safe? That is their hotbed. Bello Turji is in Sokoto State. Bello Turji, you're hearing about. The main #1 bandit in Nigeria today, Bello Turji, is operating in Sabon Brini, local government area. He switches from place to place, sometimes Zamfara, sometimes Sokoto. That is his own axis. He owns the states. He owns Zamfara. He owns Sokoto. He is government-sponsored terrorist. Fulani Caliphate sponsored terrorist. He's their boy. He is their son, ordained to commit these atrocities. And the government looks the other way. And they are getting ready to give him the order to storm that prison. They are getting ready because that is the plan. So tell me, what stops them from doing that? What stops them, as they're testing the microphone already, to just say, okay, go to the prison today and abduct Nnamdi Kanu? What stops them from doing that? If Sokoto State is not enough to house Nnamdi Kanu, please, they should switch his prison. They should change that prison immediately. Because this foul play is going on, I do not understand. I do not understand. I am calling upon the US, the UN, the EU, as a matter of urgency, to pressure Nigerian government to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu immediately, and also to transfer him to a safer prison because of the caliber of person he is. He should not be in a remote, forgotten place like Sokoto State. Nnamdi Kanu should not be in a remote and forgotten place like Sokoto State. I thought this message was very important because for lovers of Nnamdi Kanu who follow him every day, bringing this update now was very important to me so that you know the condition he's living in. He's living in a place where bomb blasts, where gunshots, where rocket launchers are sounding every day, where terrorists are operating 5 steps away from him, where bandits have their brothers and they can storm there any day. Protect Nnamdi Kanu. Change him from that prison immediately. Immediately. The second news I have for you today is about Orji Uzor. That man not to get sense. That man not to get sense. You can imagine at a point in time in Nigeria where people are talking about the flight costs, the cost of flights from one state to another, mostly flights from Lagos to the southeast, the most expensive. Imagine flight from Lagos to Imo State about 500,000 naira. Flight from Lagos to Enugu State about 450,000 naira. You know, as expensive as it is, we are talking about that. People are coming together to call the airlines to order, perhaps the government to come and discuss with the airlines to see how they can reduce the cost. And the House of Assembly and the Senate sat and discussed the matter, and everybody there agreed that the price was too high. Everybody agreed, only for Orji Uzor again to stand up and start talking rubbish, start siding with the airline operators. That the cost is too much, cost of operation, cost of spare parts. Orji Uzor was the only one. And God will have it, his colleagues in the Senate shouted on him to sit down. Orji Uzor, serial betrayer. Everybody now knows you. Always on the wrong side of history. Every time you are always talking on the wrong side of history. I will play that video. And when I come back, I will tell you what I have to say. Watch the video.
I also disagree with the motion because what you are talking about, give me opportunity to explanation to Mr. President. Mr. President, I think this motion that he brought, it looked nice on the surface, but it does not work for the airline owners. It's not going to work because this is a law of demand and supply. The spare parts are costly, everything is very high, and you cannot put the life of our citizens. No, it must go. It must go. But okay, I'll take back that.
You can see it yourself. This is Orji Uzor for you. This is Orjikalu for you. Anytime people are going right, he will go left. If they're going left, he will go right. Don't you understand why they did not give him Senate president? This is the reason why. He would have sold all his colleagues. He would have sold all of them. This is the reason why they don't even want to give any Igbo man power in this particular place. Because these Igbo leaders, politicians, they think that the thing they do against their people, people don't see it. They end up not being trusted. Look at now, a voice given to him. Instead of him to fight for the common man with his colleagues, he is fighting for the billionaires. For people who can reduce that price of flight and nothing will happen to them. If they drop that price of flight, nothing will happen to them. Their flight will still move. How can someone pay 500,000 for a 30 minutes flight? 40 minutes flight? You are paying 700,000 naira for a 20 minutes flight, and you say it's normal. You say it's because of fuel cost. You say it's because of this and that. And Orji Uzor, of all people, Igbo man, you were the one that stood up. You didn't see Hausa man to stand up. The Roman did not stand up. It was Igbo man that stood up, and it was you. That is the reason why you are disrespected. That is the reason why, even in the Southeast, you talk out of place. You know to get sense, Oga. You know to get sense like that. You know to get sense like that. I say you know to get sense. See what you are doing to yourself. Look at the way they shut you down. Betrayer. Betrayer. Nothing more. Nothing more. That is how you betrayed Nnamdi Kanu. That is how you betrayed Nnamdi Kanu, saying that 30,000 people died. Nnamdi Kanu died 30,000 people. That's what you said to the world on camera. You lied. You are standing with the wrong side all the time. And the worst part is that you always stand for yourself. You will never ever say the truth. See what your colleagues did to you. They shut you down. What can you do again? What can you do? You lobbied them to become president of Senate. They ate your money and they floor you on the ground because of this kind of statements. They know you cannot represent them. They know that you are not sensible enough. They know you very well. They know you very well. You've exposed yourself. Obalagi, betrayer. Nnamdi Kanu is in the Sokoto because you among others approved that Sokoto for him. You approved it. God will take you out of power. We don't need you in power again. Orjikalu, we don't need you representing the Southeast again in any capacity. You need to go. I'm calling upon Abia State youths and people to make sure that the coming election, if you like, bring such people back. If you like, campaign for them, collect money, rig for them, shoot your brothers for them, arrest your brothers for them, even say kidnap your brothers for them, snatch ballot box for him, he will still come back. You come and cry. That is what you have been doing to opposition. Thank God. This is exactly how you treat in the Igbo. Your colleagues now cannot be bullied like that. You can't bully them. They shut you down. If he made this statement in the Southeast, you will see everybody clapping for him. Clapping for him. Clap. Everybody will clap for him that yes, you are right. The airlines are wrong. But your colleagues are not from the Southeast alone. They fall your hand. You know to get sense. You know to get sense, Orjikalu. Change your way before it's too late. Change your ways before it's too late.